Mr. Z?
State of Decay 2's open-world battle for survival against a zombie menace is the right kind of post-apocalyptic fun. It creates plenty of high-stakes moments, punctuated by relative calm of foraging for supplies while always looking over your shoulder. It's a potent mixture for a while, until the combination of repetitive missions and annoying bugs eventually dulls the joy of squishing heads, even when your anti-zombie entourage rolls deep. Just like in the first State of Decay, you can freely switch between the survivors in your community, and you'll regularly have to because they can only be pushed so far. Or worse, you did something stupid and got someone permanently killed. That fear of loss adds some weight to the struggle for survival that plays out on one of 3 open-world rural maps as you build a shelter and work to cleanse the land of the blood plague. Moment-to-moment combat is simple but satisfying, even though it never really evolves beyond button mashing and watching your stamina meter. When you score a critical hit and knock a Zed's block off with a single swing, it's a tiny moment of power. Ammo is scarce, but guns feel good to fire, and zombies break apart with chunky effects to reward you for skillful headshots. Weapons do break after use, which occasionally left me desperately improvising my way out of a bad situation. That unpredictability adds some flavor to the repetitious business of clearing out zombie infestation after zombie infestation. Aside from the ability to play the whole thing in co-op, the biggest new idea for State of Decay 2 is the plague zombies. Red-eyed versions of the same Zeds who are slightly more aggressive and gradually infect you with a lethal disease with every hit. In practice, they're all bark and no bite. You unlock the easily manufactured cure as part of the tutorial, so there's never a need to use the option to execute an infected person. Wiping out the randomly spawning plague hearts is the main objective of the campaign, but if you take the frequently given advice of spamming explosives at them, even their bloodthirsty swarms are no real threat. What ended up killing my characters most often were the juggernauts. All 4 types of freak zombies are scary in their own way, but these beasts love to grab your AI-controlled sidekicks and go to town. I wish State of Decay 2 would mix and match these freaks more often. The rare occasions where I fought more than one at a time were some of the best fights I had. Driving is also fun, but not because these cars handle well. They do not. But they sure do splat zombies well, and having to now manage your fuel so you don't run out at a bad time far from home adds a layer of tension. Going fast does showcase the poor draw distance for zombies though, and sometimes they spawn about 40 feet off the ground. Scavenging for resources to keep your community running is refreshing because you can just look at a building and have a pretty good idea what you'll find there. Food in restaurants? Fuel in gas stations? It seems simple, but so few games get this right. And the option to speed up looting at the risk of attracting zombies is a constant tempting choice. But a lot of the inventory management is clunky, especially having to make multiple runs from a fully loaded car to the drop-off point to unload your resources. Bases are also pretty boring to manage because State of Decay 2 never really gives you much freedom to experiment. Even the biggest base sites rarely have room for non-essentials. There's no customizing of defenses either, but the threat of periodic zombie attacks is empty anyway because it'd be pretty hard to lose to one. And then there's the deadliest game, Rival Humans. If you play nice, you can bribe them to like you by giving them supplies, and they'll give you bonuses in return. But if you decide feeding your own people is more important, you'll have a fight on your hands. The biggest fan request after State of Decay was for co-op, and State of Decay 2 has it, with a catch. Yes, you and up to 3 friends can run amok together, but the bugs and hitches and hangs come fast and furious, and it seems to get worse the longer you play. Between some pretty nasty rubber banding and lag and quirks like grenades landing directly at your feet, be prepared to leave and rejoin a game often. State of Decay 2's zombie-infested maps are a good place to scavenge, fight, and survive in. Combat is satisfyingly brutal, and the special zombies inspire some real fear of permanent death, even though the blood plague turns out to be more of a sniffle. But the bugs are just as persistent as the zombies, and after a dozen hours or so of repetition, both eventually take their toll, making the appeal of replaying feel more limited than I'd expected for a sandbox RPG. For more on State of Decay 2, check out the first 17 minutes of gameplay, 25 minutes of 4-player co-op, and a rundown of what's new in State of Decay 2. And for everything else, stick with IGN.